You're looking at a pile of junk. Rust, dust, broken glass. Nobody wants this car. The scrapyard dealer has written it off. The previous owner gave up on it. Even the tow truck driver laughed when he dropped it here. But wait, I walked up to this exact car 3 weeks ago, and something made me stop. I popped the bonnet, and there it was, gleaming silver. Completely untouched, absolutely immaculate. A Mercedes-Benz valve cover sitting in a car that the whole world had thrown away. My hands were shaking, not because I was cold, because I knew exactly what I was looking at. Most people walk past cars like this every single day. They see dirt, they see rust, they see a headache, they move on. But there is a very small group of people, mechanics, enthusiasts, hunters, who see something completely different. They see opportunity. They see engineering. They see value that hasn't been discovered yet. Today, I'm going to show you everything. How I found this engine, what condition it's actually in, what it's worth, and the big question: can this thing be saved? Because here's the truth that the scrapyard doesn't want you to know. This is not junk. This is German engineering, and German engineering does not die quietly. Look at this car from the outside for a second. Honestly, it's not impressive at all. The body is boxy, the plastic trim is fading, the paint has seen better days, probably sometime in 1996. This is not a car that turns heads at traffic lights. This is not a car that makes your neighbors jealous. This is the kind of car that people park at the back of the lot because they're slightly embarrassed to be seen getting out of it. And that's exactly why nobody checked under the bonnet. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a SsangYong Musso. Now, I know what you're thinking. SsangYong? Really? The Korean brand that most people can barely pronounce, let alone respect? The company that made some of the most forgettable SUVs of the entire 1990s? Yes, exactly that one. But here is where the story gets interesting. Here is the part that stopped me dead in my tracks in that scrapyard. SsangYong, back in the 1990s, did something that almost no one talks about today. They made a deal, a proper, official engineering deal directly with Mercedes-Benz. And under that agreement, Mercedes supplied SsangYong with real engines. Not copies, not inspired by versions, not budget alternatives. The actual engine, built to the actual Mercedes specification. So what you're looking at right now is a cheap Korean body wrapped around a genuine German heart. A supermarket carrier bag hiding a Rolex inside it. That's the cognitive dissonance that gets me every single time. How did a car this ordinary end up with an engine this extraordinary? That is exactly what we're going to find out. But before we get the tools out, you need to understand something. You need to understand why this engine exists inside this car in the first place. Because once you know the full story, the business deal, the handshake, the engineering agreement that made all of this possible, you will never look at a SsangYong the same way again. We need to go back, all the way back to 1991.
The world is changing fast. The Soviet Union is collapsing. Japan's economy is peaking. And two companies, one in Stuttgart, Germany, and one in Seoul, South Korea, are sitting across a table from each other, about to make a decision that almost nobody in the automotive world remembers today. Mercedes-Benz had a problem. They were the gold standard of engineering. Everyone knew it. Everyone respected it. But Asia was growing fast. New money, new middle class, new appetite for quality vehicles. And Mercedes needed a foothold in that market without diluting their brand, without building cheap cars, without compromising the three-pointed star. SsangYong had a different problem. They could build cars. They had the factories, they had the workforce, they had the ambition, but their engines outdated, underpowered, not good enough for where they wanted to go. So they made a deal. Mercedes would supply their OM 600 series diesel engines, real, complete, fully spec'd Mercedes engines directly to SsangYong for installation in their vehicles. In exchange, SsangYong gave Mercedes a commercial presence and a distribution network across Asia. without Mercedes having to build a single factory. Both sides got exactly what they needed. But here's the part that really matters. Here's the part that tells you everything about how seriously Mercedes took this agreement. They didn't just ship the engines in a box and walk away. Mercedes-Benz sent their own engineers to South Korea, physically, on planes, into the SsangYong factory to oversee quality control, to make sure that every single engine being installed in every single Musso and Corando met the exact same standard as if it had been built for a vehicle wearing the three-pointed star on its bonnet. Think about what that means. Mercedes cared enough about their engine, even inside someone else's car, to fly their people halfway around the world to protect it. That is not a licensing deal. That is not a badge engineering exercise. That is a genuine transfer of German engineering philosophy into a Korean production line. And the result of all of that? It's sitting right here in front of us, covered in 30 years of dust, in a scrapyard, waiting. Let's see what's actually left of it. Now, I want to talk about this engine properly, not just, oh, it's a Mercedes, and move on. I want to show you exactly what makes this unit different from almost everything else you'll find in a car this age and this price bracket. Because there is a reason, a very specific engineering reason, why Mercedes diesel engines from this era have a reputation that borders on mythology. Depending on the exact model you're looking at, the SsangYong Musso came with one of two Mercedes engines. The petrol versions received the M111, a double overhead cam four-cylinder that Mercedes also put into the C-Class and the E-Class. Clean, refined, genuinely well built. But the diesels are something else entirely. The OM601, the OM602. These are the engines that the Mercedes community refers to, without exaggeration, without irony, as million-mile engines. I want you to think about that phrase for a moment. Not 100,000 miles, not 200,000, a million miles. Documented cases, real vehicles, real engines that just kept going. Why? Because of how Mercedes engineered them from the very beginning. Start with the block, cast iron. Not aluminium, not composite, not anything modern and lightweight and clever. Dense, heavy, old-fashioned cast iron. The kind of material that laughs at heat cycles, that doesn't warp, doesn't crack, doesn't decide to give up on you at 180,000 miles the way so many modern engines do. The tolerances inside this engine are extraordinary. Mercedes machined these components to specifications that were genuinely over-engineered for a mass production vehicle. The crankshaft is forged, not cast. The pistons are designed to run cool. The oil passages are generous. Everything about the internal architecture of this engine was built with one goal in mind: longevity above all else. And then there's the injection system. The indirect injection pre-chamber design that Mercedes used on these diesel units is almost bulletproof. It's not the most powerful system in the world, it's not going to win any efficiency awards by modern standards, but it will run on questionable fuel. It will start in cold weather. It will forgive neglect that would destroy a more sophisticated modern diesel. And it will keep going long after everything around it has fallen apart. Now look at this engine bay, and then look at a Mercedes W124. The E-Class, the benchmark of 1990s German engineering. A car that people still pay serious money for today because of how well it was built. Same engine family, same internal components, same Mercedes quality control standards. The only difference is the badge on the outside of the car. This is not a copy. This is not an imitation. This is not SsangYong looking at a Mercedes engine and trying to build something similar. This is the actual engine, and we're about to find out if 30 years of sitting in this scrapyard has managed to kill it. My honest prediction? It hasn't. So we've checked the oil, we've checked the coolant, we've done the compression test, and I'm going to tell you the results in just a moment. But first, let's talk about what it's actually like to live with one of these. Here's the question that matters to most people watching this. Forget the history, forget the engineering lecture. Can you actually buy one of these, put it on the road, and use it as a daily driver today? The answer, genuinely, honestly, is yes, with one catch. the driving experience. This is not a fast car. Let's be completely honest about that. The OM602 diesel is not going to pin you to your seat. It's not going to embarrass anything at a roundabout. What it will do is pull smoothly, consistently, almost lazily, producing its torque low down in the rev range, getting on with the job without any drama whatsoever. On a motorway, it's comfortable, relaxed, the kind of vehicle where you settle in, stop fighting it, and start appreciating it for what it actually is. A properly built, honest machine that was never designed to impress anyone, only to work. When something goes wrong on a SsangYong Musso, and eventually something will because everything does, you don't go looking for SsangYong parts. You go to your local Mercedes parts supplier because the engine components, the filters, the gaskets, the seals, Mercedes catalog numbers. Straight swap, no modifications, no fabrication, no hunting through obscure online forums at midnight. You are essentially maintaining a Mercedes diesel at SsangYong prices. Think about what that means practically. You can buy a running, driving Musso today for a fraction of what a comparable W124 costs. The engine underneath is the same family. The parts availability is the same. The reliability ceiling is the same. Is this the ultimate sleeper buy? Is this the automotive life hack that most people have completely missed? I genuinely think it might be. The person who understands what's under this bonnet, who buys one of these for the right money, maintains it with Mercedes parts, and simply drives it. That person is getting something that the market has fundamentally mispriced. That's not an opinion. The compression test results are good, genuinely good. This engine, sitting in a scrapyard, written off, abandoned, it still has life in it, and that tells you everything you need to know about how it was built. But I want to end this video by talking about something bigger than this one engine. Something that I think about every time I find a car like this. We are never going back to this era of engineering. The manufacturers who built vehicles like this, who over-engineered diesel blocks with cast iron and generous tolerances and mechanical injection systems that could survive almost anything. They don't make decisions like that anymore. They can't. The pressure to reduce weight, emissions, costs, and development time has fundamentally changed what gets built and how.
Modern engines are extraordinary pieces of technology. I'm not dismissing them, but they are optimized for efficiency, not longevity. They are built to perform within a warranty period, not to reach 1,000,000 miles. The SsangYong Musso, with its Mercedes engine, is a physical relic from a different philosophy. A time when German engineers flew to South Korea to stand on the factory floor and personally ensure their engine was being treated correctly. A time when longevity wasn't a selling point. It was just assumed. It was just what you did. That era is over, which means every one of these engines still running today is genuinely irreplaceable. Not in a sentimental way, in a practical, engineering, they don't make them like this anymore way. So the next time you're driving down a road and you see an old boxy SUV, faded paint, boring shape, the kind of car nobody notices, don't dismiss it, because you have no idea what's under the bonnet. I want to hear from you. Have you ever owned a SsangYong or come across one of these Mercedes engine surprises in an unexpected place? Drop it in the comments below, because I have a feeling this community knows about hidden gems that the rest of the world has completely overlooked. And if you want to see what happens when we actually try to start this engine, that video is coming. Subscribe and you won't miss it.